how are ya? Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all staying safe and healthy and productive if you need to be. Speaking of productivity, I wanted to do kind of a special helpful episode today if you are working from home about the top tips that I have picked up from the past few years of working from home. If you don't know this about me, yes, I did recently quit my night job, but in addition to my night job, I have worked from home 8 to 10 hour days every day for the last 2-ish years. And then before that, I actually did all except for one semester of my college schooling online from at home. So between those two things, I have about 5 to 6 years of experience working from home. And I have lived with roommates, by myself, with a husband, with a dog, basically everything except for kids. So moms, you're superheroes. I admire you. Hopefully some of these tips are still applicable to moms as well, but just, man, I'm impressed with all you do. Speaking of working from home, one big bummer when your job is to film is there are some noises you can't avoid, and they are doing construction on my apartment building this week. So if you hear humming in the background, that's what that is, and I'm so sorry, but I have a schedule I have to adhere to, and I'm not going to break that schedule. I'm just dealing with it, and I might make this background music the slightest bit louder to try to hide it. Without further ado, here are my top work from home tips to help increase your workflow and your productivity.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simple.
First is pick an atmosphere and create an atmosphere that you actually enjoy being in, because you're gonna be in it for probably 8 hours out of the day, 5 days out of the week. I know myself, I need to have sunlight and natural light, so I choose to work in our bedroom, where we are now, because it receives the most natural light, and that just helps me in my productivity. A couple other things that I do to make my workspace a little more peaceful and happy and me not hate being in it is I love to light a candle. For some reason that always just feels so happy and luxurious and peaceful. And then I also like to really softly play some happy music in the background. I've noticed that if it's too loud, I get distracted, but if it's silent, I just get restless. So having a little bit of happy music really changes the atmosphere. So those are the 3 things that are important to me, and I encourage you to look around and see what things increases your productivity and your happiness and your joy and makes you actually like being at your desk space or your workspace a little bit more. Next, this is the biggest thing for me, I think, because I like feeling like I have accomplishments, is write down your goals and then cross them the heck off. Not sponsored, but I have been using this little self-care planner that I got in my cause box. It's by a brand called Simple Self, and it has the perfect daily planning. I write down, here I'll show you a previous page. Every day I write down what's going on throughout the day where there's a schedule, and I write a to-do list, and I have so much satisfaction crossing them off, and it's really easy to take a glance at it throughout the day, see how many tasks I have left, and be able to know how to budget my time accordingly. I don't know what it is about like the reward system of crossing something off. For some reason that feels like more of a reward than actually completing the task itself. But every morning when I wake up, that's the first thing I do is I write down what I want to get done throughout the day. And then I have a clear-cut picture of how I'm going to be spending my time at work. Oftentimes too, the task that I want to do least, I will do first, because as soon as I get that out of the way, I am much more motivated to do the more fun tasks after that. And it feels good to have the thing off your plate that you were dreading the most, instead of leaving that for the end of the day and just thinking about it all day. The next tip is set an alarm. This is not a weekend. This is really hard, I know. I would love to sleep in every weekday, but just getting up and having a little bit of a routine, setting that intention that today is for work, not necessarily for fun and for relaxation, is the best way to start off that day. The mornings that I wake up at 7:30 on the dot, go pour myself some coffee, sit down, write down my to-do list for the day, and then start working are the days that I get so much more done. I will admit I have a couple days where I'm exhausted and I sleep in till 8:30, 9, kind of roll out of bed, make my coffee and sit on the couch and peruse Instagram for a minute. And then I look up and it's 11 and I'm like, what has happened? Oh my word, I'm so behind. So just the intentionality behind setting an alarm creates enough of a routine for me to be able to get focused and to get working. This is something I'm not great at, but it's create boundaries, aka say no to non-work related things. Me being pretty involved in my church, I get probably 5 to 10 texts a day from different people asking me to do random different things, whether that be edit this or jump on this video call, jump on this conference, give me your thoughts about this, send me these brainstorms, and obviously I'm excited to do it and I love to help. But one thing that I am recently learning is to create the boundaries politely of right now is my work time, but I will do this as soon as possible when I am free. Especially working from home, people might not realize that you still have a job that you need to get done and that your time is just kind of free time, which is definitely not true. So for example, yesterday I was asked very last minute to jump on a Zoom call and participate, and I responded that due to my work conflicts, I can't actually participate in that Zoom call at the moment, but I offered a consolation. I said I'm happy to turn it on in the background and watch as I edit and then give you notes at the end of the day about what I thought about it. So creating those boundaries is like a really great way to remind people I still have a job I have to get done. That's priority. I'm happy to do that for you on my terms when it fits into my schedule, because you don't want to stress yourself out. It's definitely something I'm working on and learning how to do properly, because me being a people pleaser wants to say yes to everybody all the time. But moral of the story is people will respect you and respect your time, and you can still get those things done for them if you want to and be significantly less stressed. Next also has to do with boundaries, and that's create physical boundaries if you can. Brooke and I lived in a studio for our first year-ish of marriage. Now we thankfully have a 1-bedroom, which has been so great for working at home with another person. The bedroom is my office space, the den kitchen is his office space, and pretty much between the hours of he's up and at 'em around 10 to probably 4 or 5, we're pretty much confined to our own spaces getting work done. Having those physical boundaries and like, this is my space, this is your space, really helps you to focus. But I understand, coming from a couple that lives in a studio, that it's not always easy to create physical boundaries. So this is probably a tip you've heard before, but my greatest tip is just headphones. Headphones even over earphones, because they're very visible and it's a good reminder of I'm working, I can't hear you, sorry, these are my work hours. And having whatever music you like, or even just nothing, even just wearing the headphones as a reminder to please be quiet, please don't talk to me, is a really good way to create a physical boundary. That's something Brooke's really good at. A lot of times he'll have headphones on and I walk by, he's not listening to anything. It's just a reminder and I do appreciate it. I get it. Next is a productivity tip. Learn when you work best and block that time out. I work best in the morning, 100%. Am I a morning person? I don't know. I don't necessarily like waking up. I'd love to just keep sleeping. But when I wake up, I work 5 times as fast in the morning as I do in the evening. So the morning, I really try to block out any sort of plans so that I can get work done then, because I know I'll work twice as hard. So if someone does want to schedule a Zoom call or something that is work related, a phone call, a meeting, whatever, I'll ask them if we could do it in the afternoon. So the morning I can just really focus and really get things done. Now on the reverse, you might be a night person and you might be freelance. You might not have normal office hours. And if that's the case, and if you work best at night, props to you. I can't relate. I can't even imagine what's that like. But maybe block off the hours of 7 to 10. Maybe make your dinner plans before that. Make your virtual game nights during this time at 6. Whatever. Just learn yourself, know when you're most productive. Know when your brain works best and try to keep that time open, because you'll work so much quicker and more efficient and not spend the day just lollygagging. This one is very helpful, and it's take an actual lunch break. Take a walk, get outside, get some fresh air if you can. I think if you're transitioning from a normal office life to work from home, you don't realize how many steps you might actually take in a normal work day, walking from your car to the office, walking to the vending machine. I don't know, I've never really had a real office job, but just from what I've heard from Brooke, you take breaks, you walk around. When you're at home, you feel so confined to this little space that it's really easy to get restless. So being intentional about taking a lunch break, taking a little mental break, and also being intentional about just moving your body a little bit and getting a little bit of fresh air can be a really good reset to where you come back after your 30-minute break feeling much more refreshed and ready to work at a more productive pace. Next, this might not be the most politically correct way to phrase it, but bribe yourself. I guess a better way to phrase it would be motivate yourself, but for me, bribe yourself with things that make you happy. So obviously, if you know me at all, you know that my daily matcha is the highlight of my day, something I look forward to so much, and oftentimes in order to maintain productivity, I will quite literally bribe myself with matcha time. I'll say, Michel, you can go and make your matcha as soon as you finish editing this video, and then wouldn't you know it, I edit that video significantly more efficiently than if I don't bribe myself with matcha. Little things like that throughout the day, whether that be your lunch break, your little afternoon walk, whether that be the end of the day and you're so excited to tune into whatever show comes on at 6 o'clock. Say, Michel, finish this up before your show, and you'll get that done probably at a better pace. My final tip is something that, if I'm being honest, I just learned this week, and that is clock off. Clock out in the evening, pick a time, decide what that is. For me, it's usually 7 p.m. After that point, sorry, I'm not gonna answer your email. Sorry, I'm not gonna check that work text. Sorry, if your video needs edits, I'll get that to you tomorrow by end of day. But creating those boundaries is really healthy for a couple reasons. I have learned that by creating those professional versus personal boundaries actually gives me a set time to do my like life things, laundry, dishes, cook dinner, work out, all of those things. I have a set time for it, so I don't feel guilty about not doing them throughout the day. I know that there's a time and a place for it. Also, it's forcing me to relax. It's forcing me to take an hour to watch a show with Brook or to play Animal Crossing, which is my new addiction. And just doing something fun and mindless for a couple hours in the evening is a really good way to unwind and reset. And I do find I wake up the next day much more refreshed and ready to get working again. And like I said, coming from the schedule of having a night job in addition to everything I do during the day, I was used to working 18-hour days every day, and I didn't really know what it felt like to have an evening off to relax, unwind, and kind of get your life together. In doing that, I have felt such a greater peace, greater satisfaction. I have been significantly less stressed, and so if you have the time and if you can afford to have the time, which I know time really is a luxury because I didn't afford to have the time until a couple months ago when I quit my serving job, but I recommend picking a time, clocking off at that time, and being stern about it with yourself because you deserve it. You do deserve it. You deserve a couple hours of relaxation in the day. It's a form of self-care, and that's something that I've finally come to terms with. I hope that this video is helpful. I know we're all in this weird transitional time right now, so if you have any helpful tips that you want to leave for our other friends in this community, I'm sure it'd be much appreciated, so write them down below. I'll have fun reading through them too. Maybe you'll help me out as well, and I would love that. I love you with my absolute whole heart. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I'll see you in a video very soon. Bye!